Breaking tonight, Portland police say multiple arrests have been made following anti-police protesters smashing windows at the Democratic Party of Oregon building in Portland and in Seattle. More arrests as police there are monitoring a group that has vandalized apparently multiple sites, including smashing the windows of a courthouse. We're following things in Denver as well, because this is what happened there. During a march to the state capitol there in Colorado today, a left-wing group clashed with a couple of pro-life activists who were there on the street. We're told this group is mostly Antifa. The crowd promptly became unruly, stealing the sign, one of the pro-life guys' signs, shouting and cursing at the advocates and appearing to physically assault at least one of them. Joining us now for more on the unrest out west is KTTH Seattle radio talk show host Jason Rant. Jason, great to have you. You're in D.C. covering the inauguration, and yet nothing stays calm out west while you're gone.
Oh, no, it doesn't. And anyone who pays any attention to Antifa and how they organize openly online knew that this was going to happen both in Portland and in Seattle. They don't hide their organizing. I know there's been a lot of conversation about right-wing violence on Parler, but these folks are on Facebook, on Twitter. They're putting out flyers basically saying what they're going to do, and they always follow through with it. So anyone who's shocked at this, you're just literally not looking at what's right in front of us all. They don't hide it.
Well, here's something from former CIA Director John Brennan today talking about the various groups and the trouble that they're causing internally here in the U.S. Here's what he said.
I know looking forward that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements, religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians.
Jason, even the libertarians got thrown in there at the end, but that sounds like a pretty nasty group. And listen, I hope all of those groups that are causing trouble and engaging criminal activity are being tracked, but that's quite a laundry list.
It is a laundry list, but, you know, Antifa doesn't exist. It's a total myth. They're only involved in peaceful protests, a talking point that to this day is still being used despite ample evidence showing quite the opposite. And the Democrats have a really interesting problem on their hand because they helped create this movement. They allowed it to fester for 6 months, and they created this environment that essentially said, look, we're not only not going to punish you for your kinds of violence that we saw for 6 months last year, we're actually going to reward it. Because remember, when you look at Portland and Seattle and you look at some of these other areas, they ended up adopting, city governments adopted a lot of the policies that these terrorist groups ended up promoting, saying they weren't going to stop any of the violence until they were heard, until they were listened to. It's only going to continue. So the Democrats have to step up and actually call this stuff out. You can't just go after one side of violence. You can't just go after the violence that you think is being perpetuated by the right and completely ignore the left. It begets more violence.
Yeah, and you got to be consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Everybody should, if they're being genuine about the need to stop violence across the country, regardless of the ideology behind it. All right, Jason, safe travels home. Let us know what's happening when you get there. Good to see you. Shannon.